Welcome back to The Explainers. Today, we're diving straight into something absolutely crucial: how we actually overcome life's hardest moments. We're breaking down this incredible source material called The Architecture of Resilience and Gratitude. It's essentially a no-nonsense blueprint for navigating trauma and hardship. Look, if you're tuning in, you already know life doesn't just hand you lemons. Sometimes it completely wrecks your foundation. So we're going to look at exactly what it takes to rebuild when that happens. No toxic positivity here, just pragmatic effort. Let's get right to it.
So, who actually fixes things when disaster strikes? Honestly, it's human nature to cling to this comforting default belief. When something completely unforeseeable hits, or when trauma happens, we kind of subconsciously expect that someone, maybe the universe, society, or a community, is going to just step in and carry the load for us. We want to believe that victims just naturally get taken care of, right? Like there's some cosmic balancing scale that automatically hands out relief proportional to our suffering. It's a really warm, comforting thought. But as our source material reveals, relying on that thought, that can actually keep us totally trapped.
Okay, let's dive into this core paradox from the text. It says, the harder your life is, the more effort you need to put in to improve your life. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It feels incredibly unfair, doesn't it? The source is basically telling us that when completely uncontrollable, unfortunate events happen to you, you don't just get to sit back and rest. Actually, scratch that, it's the exact opposite. It means you have to dedicate even more conscious effort and deliberate energy just to get better. This right here is the central friction of dealing with trauma. Exactly when your energy is at its absolute lowest, the demand for your deliberate effort is at its absolute highest.
Moving into Section 1, the hard truth about hardship.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it contrasts our expectations with reality. To truly grasp this, we need to slow down and accept what the source calls the hard truth. We're not sugarcoating anything here. On one side, you've got this myth of automatic rescue, the default belief that victims just get help and are taken care of. But the hard truth, the reality is that trauma sufferers are the very ones who have to muster the strength and faith to work harder. The universe isn't going to automatically do the heavy lifting for you. Experiencing pain doesn't give you a free pass from the work of healing, it literally demands it. You have to actively muster up the strength just to spark a positive change.
And the math on this struggle? It is absolutely unforgiving. The text points out that your struggle to find hope and faith increases exponentially depending on how bad the situation is. We're not talking about a steady, linear climb here. Think of it like this. The deeper the valley you find yourself in, the steeper the walls are, and the more deliberate effort you need just to find a tiny glimmer of hope. It's honestly exhausting to even think about. But acknowledging this exponential difficulty, that's the absolutely crucial first step to actually generating the energy you need. You kind of have to know exactly how heavy the weight is before you can even try to lift it.
Which brings us to Section 2, the illusion of comparison.
So once we actually accept that hard truth about the effort required, we almost immediately stumble into this psychological trap. And it's such a natural yet incredibly destructive human instinct, looking at the people around us. The source states it super plainly. Comparing with people who are having a smooth phase of their lives would not resolve your issues and trauma in life. When we're stuck in that exponential struggle for hope we just talked about, our eyes naturally dart over to our neighbors, our coworkers, or, let's be real, our social media feeds. We see people who look like they're just effortlessly gliding through life. But the text hits the nail on the head with the fundamental truth. We will never, ever truly know what's going on behind closed doors. Comparing your messy behind-the-scenes trauma to someone else's highlight reel, it's not just unhelpful. It's a massive waste of the deliberate energy you desperately need for your own recovery.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole point using the exact example from the text. We might look at the very rich person over here and just assume they've got it made. Easy ride, right? But as the text notes, they might actually be hated by their own family, battling an untreatable illness, or dealing with major betrayal. Now flip that and look at the other person. Someone with way less external wealth might have a super fulfilling job, a healthy lifestyle, and absolutely love providing for their family. The takeaway? External metrics of success or stability absolutely do not shield anyone from their own hidden demons. No way.
So the core message here is a completely universal reality. Everyone, literally everyone, goes through rough patches. Everyone has their own inner demons. The text makes a point to say that our issues might subjectively look smaller or bigger compared to someone else's, but that subjectivity is exactly why comparison is such a flawed metric. Your trauma is your trauma. Your rough patch requires your effort. Wasting your energy trying to weigh your pain against someone else's supposed happiness isn't going to do a single thing to help rebuild your foundation.
All right, let's move into Section 3, the architecture of gratitude.
So the crucial point is this.
If comparing ourselves to others is totally useless, and the effort we need to put in is exponential, what actual, practical tool can we use to rebuild? While the text fundamentally redefines gratitude for us here, let's completely forget the cliché of toxic positivity, okay? Gratitude is not about slapping on a fake smile while your world burns down around you. According to the source, gratitude is a pragmatic lens. It's a tool that enables us to objectively assess our situation. By focusing on what we actually have right now, instead of obsessing over what we've lost or what somebody else has, gratitude clears our vision. It strips away all that panic and just leaves us with the raw, objective facts of the resources we actually have left. Let's move to and see how this builds a truly functional strategy for resilience. The text outlines a really clear three-step paradigm shift that's completely powered by this new definition of gratitude. Step 1. Objectively assess the situation. You use gratitude to take an inventory of your remaining tools and strengths. Step 2. Do the best you can with what you have. Remember that conscious effort we talked about at the very beginning? This is where you apply it directly to the resources you just inventoried. And finally, step 3. Start from wherever you are. You're not waiting for a rescue that isn't coming. You're not waiting for a smooth phase to magically appear. You start building your hope right there from the absolute bottom of the valley, fueling that deliberate energy with your objective assessment.
So, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've looked at the hard truths of trauma, how comparing yourself to others is just wasted energy, and the incredibly pragmatic power of gratitude. The source material has handed us the blueprint, but that deliberate effort, that is entirely up to you. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. Knowing that absolutely no one else can carry the exponential weight of your rough patches, how are you going to use this architecture, this objective assessment, utilizing what you have and starting exactly where you stand to build your resilience today? Thank you so much for focusing in with us, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.